Alright. Well, everybody, welcome to the stream. As you can probably hear from the noise in the background, I'm going to be playing Shadow of the Colossus. Um, and hopefully this stream ends up being a big learning experience for myself and everybody who's participating in here. So, thanks for joining, and let's all learn something together. Alright, so the reason I'm starting out with Shadow of the Colossus is just because I've always been a huge fan of the game in general. It's definitely a childhood favorite of mine, but I have a pretty big connection to it, so hopefully we could get through a bunch of it today, but in general, my goal is really just to talk to you guys, get to know how to use this, and see where we can go from there. It's kind of hard to have everything running at the same time, so I'm not really used to trying to access chat, trying to access OBS, trying to access the internet all at once. Alright, but let's just dive right into the game. So, starting out with Shadow of the Colossus, because like I said, childhood favorite, but in general, I just love this game. I played it originally when it came out in 2005. And it's just been a big part of my gaming experience and maybe a little bit of my gaming identity since then. So for those who don't know, Shadow of the Colossus was originally made by the game company Gen Design, as you can see on the screen right there. Blue Point came and did a remake of this in 2018. So a lot of updates with the graphics and the content in general. They added a lot of items that you can get from beating the Colossus on the timing mode. Alright, but because this is very new to me, I would like you to help me out a little bit and let me know if I sound clear enough, or if I need to maybe adjust my settings in OBS, or if I need to change the game volume settings either. So I'm not really sure how well you can hear that right now. Sounds very quiet to me though. But this opening scene is just giving us a little bit of a background information about our main characters. So basically everybody you're seeing on the screen are majority of the main characters that we'll be seeing throughout the entire game. As you can see, there's the guy on the horse. His name is Wander, and his trusty companion is his horse Agro. And they're going to be going to the Forsaken Land in hopes of rescuing, well, who I've always referred to as the princess, but apparently she's not really a princess. This opening scene lets you kind of pan around a little bit. And that's actually a continuation from the game when it was originally released for PlayStation 2 back in the day. How's the volume though? Is the volume alright? Game wise? Alright, I'm gonna take that as it's good. So this opening scene, very long cutscene, but it's just gonna give us a little bit of a gist of exactly where we're going. Kind of quiet. I had to put my device on max volume. Okay, I can increase it. If the are you referring to the game itself or my mic volume? Okay, good. Alright, I'll increase it a little bit. I just didn't want it to be overwhelming and playing over top of what I'm saying too much. But I can definitely adjust it. Okay, so this is the Forsaken Land. This is where the entire game is going to take place. So the big reason why I'm starting this stream is really just to, well, A, of course, get used to it because it's been so long since I've done it in the first place, but also to start a conversation about the things that I like and hopefully continue this down the road. So I'm not sure how far it'll go, of course, but I guess we'll see. So I think I'm going to play the game on as a new game and just play it on the normal difficulty. So the base game, just exactly as it would be if it's your first time jumping into it. So this is the temple, and this is going to be where we're going to be returning after every single Colossus we fight and beat, and hopefully beat anyway. And Wander is coming into the temple. So just as a little bit of background about the Shadow of the Colossus in general, like I said, it came out in 2005, but it's actually Uedo's second game. So originally he came out with a game called Ico that you might be familiar with, and Ico was a game for PlayStation 2 as well. I believe that one came out in like 2001, and Ico was one of his first endeavors into 3D. I believe that he also partnered with Sony to work on the game Ape Escape, but Ico was the first game he came out. That was like completely his idea, and it's about a little boy basically hand holding, I think, another princess and trying to get her through this out of this terrible temple where she seems enclosed. But I have a lot less familiar with that game. I'm more familiar with this one because ever since it came out in 2005, I've played it many, many times. How many? Too many. So not only am I extremely familiar with it, but I might skip over talking about certain scenes and stuff just because I've seen them so much. But I guess the main reason why I wanted to start the stream and whatever it ends up being from there is because I myself just have such a deep passion for video games. I've not only played them since I was young, but I also follow them profusely through social medias and all of my news outlets to try to update with all of what's going on in the gaming world in general. And I think that because I've had such a strong passion on it, I just wanted to see what else I could do with it. And I know that streaming has been around for a while, but in general, I myself have not gotten into that foray. You asked, is it a challenging game for a beginner? I would say no. No, not a challenging game. Very good for new game players in general. So what do you mean by beginner? Are you completely new into the field, or do you have a little bit of experience? So the man talking right now, I can't really specifically remember what his name is, but he is going to be the narrator for the entire game, and he basically is like a sorcerer of sorts. He has some magical powers, and he has a team of warriors that follow him in the game, and he tries to stop Wander from pursuing the Colossi. Very few, very few experiences. All right, well, I feel you there. Like I said, I might be stumbling over my own words and stumbling over this game in general just because it's been so long since I've been in front of people and on a stream. So just bear with me, is all I'm saying. Also, my environment is a little bit of a work in progress, so I'm hoping that as this stream goes, I'm able to kind of flesh it out a little bit and make this room a little bit more appealing to look at both for my viewers and for myself. All right, so this is where the action starts. So Wander is in the temple, and he's now seeing these spirit beings. And gosh, these guys always used to frighten me when I was a kid, but to me, they seem like pieces of the Colossi or something. And you'll see a little bit more later on, but this is his sword of light, and this is going to be his main, I would say, friend in the entire game, but it's going to be his main comfort in general because it not only provides you with the directions of where to go, but it also will point out the Colossus's weaknesses. Colossi? No, Colossi is one. Colossus, I don't even know, actually. Alright, so whoever the temple guardian is finding out that he has the ancient sword, and they're going to tell him to pursue the Colossi. I just read actually that Dorman, which is the name of that being that's kind of talking to him in the temple, Dorman spelled backward is Nimrod, and apparently one of the big basis aspects of this game is that it's based off of a story about the king Nimrod and how he was cut up into pieces and scattered throughout the land. And I guess the game represents you finding those pieces and trying to put them back together of sorts. Unfortunately, we never find out too much about Mono. She stays on this table pretty incapacitated throughout most of the game, but she apparently was sacrificed for the betterment of his land or something like that. So Wander thinks that he should go and save her. Normally, I do skip all these cutscenes, so I'm really not used to their length. So we might be skipping some down the road. All right. Well, while we're watching this through, though, I guess I'll talk a little bit about why I myself got into video games way back in the day. So when I was a kid, I remember having very little familiarity with them. And I'm talking like kindergarten age. And so when I was about 4 and I was starting kindergarten, it was determined that I should probably have a little bit better hand-eye coordination, I guess. And so my teachers suggested, or the school facilitator suggested that maybe I should start playing video games just to improve my hand-eye coordination a little bit. My family was never too heavy into sports because I don't understand why that wasn't the solution. But in general, that was why my first console was bought for me. And so back in the day, I was purchased a Super Nintendo and a classic Nintendo Entertainment System, so NES or SNES, whatever you want to call them. And I had like dozens of games for that. So I remember sitting on the floor of my houses with my sister, just constantly playing games. And Whenever I played with my sister, it was always like an argument just because she wanted to just mindlessly stroll throughout the games, and I really wanted to get to the next level over and over again. So we played Mickey and Minnie, the circus Mickey and Minnie, and then another one. And those would really be her type of games. But I wanted to play like wrestling and Metal Gear Solid, or Metal Gear, I guess, at the time. All right, so now we have control over Wander finally. And on the old PlayStation 2 controls, jump was triangle and get on your horse was X. But for this one, they actually made those controls opposite. So now even to like make your horse go, it's triangle. And that always feels extremely awkward to me just because I do have more experience playing on PlayStation 2, more so than playing on PlayStation. Well, this is for PlayStation 4. So this is the Forsaken Land, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I used to spend hours just running around here. I always get off my horse at this time just because it's my favorite feature about this game, that you can actually shoot on all the trees the fruits that are in them. And every time you eat a piece of fruit in this game, your health bar actually increases a little bit more. So the more fruit you eat throughout, the more health you have. And there is actually very little in this land in general, especially because it was such an old game, came out in 2005. So just the sheer magnitude of it alone was impressive that they could put on the console, but they couldn't really include very much more in their open world. So this sword will be your main direction giver, so you can focus the beam of light to show where you want to go. And so obviously I need to go up here first. And this next section really is just a little bit of a tutorial in this game for how you're going to go about controlling the character. So I really love the aspect that for this game specifically, they started off by really just throwing you into it, and then you get to learn the controls right as you're approaching the first Colossus. So I could probably shut off those tutorials down there, but I did not go ahead and do that. One thing that's always been a not so great feature about this game is the buggy camera. And that's stayed consistent both from the PS2 version and to the PS4 version. So if you see it bugging out, I promise it's not my stream. It's really the how the camera was created in the first place. All right, but we're just gonna climb up here. Again, gorgeous game. Look at that. For PlayStation 2, that was awesome. Maybe less impressive to those of us who are watching this now, but I promise it's really cool. And weirdly enough, everybody I've shown this game to since I was young has grown to love it. So I try to really encourage my sister and family members to play video games and get the same experience that I pull from them. And I can't guarantee that's the case, but I do know that every time that I talk to her about this game, she always talks about her love for it. So maybe I can spread that to anybody who's watching. All right, but this is our first Colossus. He's a pretty big guy. Let me see if I can actually shut off the tutorials. There we go. Awesome. Much better. I played this game enough to know I don't need new tutorials, so just to give you guys an idea, this sword points out the weaknesses of the Colossus. So there's one up there and one up towards his head, so let's see what we need to do. Gosh, when I was young, though, and I was first approaching this guy, I remember standing all the way back over near where the game started and just trying to shoot him with my bow and arrow because I was so terrified of actually approaching him to attack. I've gotten a little bit better at playing video games since then, so hopefully no running away from Colossi in this playthrough, but in general, it was terrifying. And you absolutely cannot move when Wanderer is feeling like he doesn't want to, so... Oh, and now he's actually not going to even... grab him. Alright. Guess it's stab his leg again. Alright, there we go. And look, I'm already almost out of stamina. Gosh. So one other cool feature about this is every time you beat the game, you keep all the stats from the last time you beat it. So I am so used to his stamina meter being pretty darn full, because I usually just continue my previous games anytime I'm feeling like I need a replay of this one. Alright. I think we're getting there. Let's see. So if you have the sword in your hand in this, luckily, his weak point will show whenever you get close to it. So this guy's is in his head. You have to expand your stamina meter before you're able to stab him. But on normal, it does quite a bit of damage. Not so much for the other difficulty levels. So let's see if we can just beat him through in this one run. Boom! We did it! First Colossi down! Only 15 more to go. It sounds like a lot, but it goes by pretty fast. I used to always think you could, if you were fast enough, run away from that happening with those tentacles getting into Wanderer's body. You can't, no matter how hard you try. And then you're put in this weird dark tunnel thing, and you wake up in the same place it all started. Looks a little bit shaky for me. Is the stream coming through all right? Or is it buffering very heavily? I am streaming this currently through my Mac, so I have to use the PS5 Remote Play app, which I'm also not used to playing, so usually my image quality is a little bit better in general, so my apologies for that. I am going to plug in my computer quickly, though, so let me do that before it dies. So every time you defeat a Colossus, it makes you basically start over from this temple. And your instructions are usually given as to find the next Colossus. So we have our sword in our hand. And as you can see, it's no longer pointing this way. So the second Colossus should be over here. As we get closer to our actual location, it'll pinpoint specifically where. So over here. Notice my stamina meter in the corner there increased a little bit just from beating that last one. So every single time you defeat a Colossus, your stamina meter increases and your health bar increases ever so slightly. Another cool aspect of this game is that at any point you can do tricks on aggro. So sometimes I like to stand up while he's riding across this bridge. But in general, if you just hold the run button whenever you're going across a trail or across a bridge, usually aggro will do well to self-correct. But one of my biggest gripes back in the day was that this horse was so all over the place, and he would always just choose his own path no matter how much I'm trying to direct him as to where to go. So I'm pretty sure that I always did that back when I used to play it, because I thought it needed to like kind of show you where it is so you're not like continuing to that desert area behind there, because the second Colossus is actually all the way below this bridge. I'm not sure if in our disconnection issues if we ended up losing anything when it comes to audio or anything, so please let me know if I accidentally did something like that too. So okay, and we are approaching Colossus number 2. Where are ya? Okay, so for this guy, he has a couple weak points. The biggest ones being, though, his feet. So the biggest question when you're first coming up to him is, how am I supposed to get up to climb on him to find his weak point? So if you shine your sword, it actually shows that his weak point is up there, and there's another one on his head. But one of his weak points is actually on his feet. So if you look underneath, you see those giant golden shining areas on the bottom of his hooves, I guess they are. And if we shoot those, we should be able to get on him. So shot one, he kneels down. I switch back to my sword so I can find an area to stab him, and then just climb up the little mossy area on his leg. Alright, and like I said, any movement and stuff, it stops me from climbing, so even though it comes pretty close with my stamina running out before I even get on top of him, we're able to get up pretty easily. But last second. Alright. So we'll just wait for this to load and then stab his butt. Of course, fall off of him for a second. Alright, I thought it was actually gone, so like I said, there are 2 weak spots on this one, unlike the other guy, so when you beat one of them, it will disappear, and then there'll be another area that appears on him. And like I said, because I know it already, I know that it's on his head, but otherwise you can use your sword to kind of point out where it is. Does a little shake to try to throw me off. Ah! Okay, another shake, and then I let my stamina charge if I can get it to load. Stab him. He'll probably try to throw me off a couple more times, but our stamina should be good, I think. Alright, one more hit. Alright, die! Die, let me stab you! Second Colossus down. So those first two are definitely the easiest of the entire game, but it gives you a little bit of a basis of what we're going to be doing from here on out. I remember when this first came out, people were like obsessed with finding another secret into the whole game. So there was this whole group that people put together of trying to find the last secret in the Shadow of the Colossus. And there's a lot of lore behind it as to why that's the case, but a big reason was because when the game was originally being put together, they had planned on putting, I believe it was like 64 Colossuses in there. And obviously they only ended up with 16, but because of the fact that the game was so huge, there's so many areas in this land that you as Wander don't even come in contact with in this short duration. And people were convinced that there should be, or there is, another Colossi hidden somewhere in the Forsaken Lands, which, after tearing the game apart, looking into the data, they had found out that there wasn't. But that whole group of people discovered so much about the game and what you are able to do and what you're not able to do. And so when they came out with this game, when Bluepoint recreated it, they put in the 79 paths to enlightenment. So there are these little orbs that are actually hidden around the game, that you can find, and they're all in a bunch of areas that you wouldn't normally go in just the regular playthrough. And they end up unlocking like this big sword that can take down all the Colossi pretty easily. But unfortunately, that sword is not anything special, because if you play the game's regular speed time mode, or whatever it's called, challenge mode, where you have to beat each Colossus in under a certain amount of time, you get like the Queen Sword and other equipment like that. That makes it a lot easier, but it's still cool that they added anything else to the game. So you might ask in general why I have spent so long on this game and beaten it multiple times. It's because, like I said, when you beat it once, your stamina and health bar are extended each time you beat a Colossus, and it remembers where you were on the next playthrough as well. So in order to climb the roof of that temple that you just saw me in, that we'll be starting in at each beginning of the game, you have to beat the game at least 4 times to get up there. So why that's a feature in the first place, I have no idea. Who expected kids to be beating this game 4 times back in those days? But I don't know. I think it makes me harken back to my years of youth and think about how when I would get video games, I knew that I was only going to get like one or two in the year, and because video games are so expensive, and when I got them, I would spend countless hours on them, just tearing them apart, playing them for all they're worth, because I knew that the next one that I was going to get was going to be an entire year from then. So maybe they wanted people to play it 4 times or expected people to play it through 4 times. Who knows? But that was as far as I remember, that was before New Game Plus was a thing. So to have a game continue where you left off virtually, that was really amazing. I was just talking to my friend about how going underwater in video games is one of the most terrifying things to me. As I go underwater here. Luckily, you can't go too deep. It's not free swimming, but gosh, it scares me every single time I go under, especially because one of the colossi that you fight in here is purely an underwater fight, and I can't stand it. It brings me a lot of fear, but hopefully we'll be seeing that pretty soon. So I know I didn't use my sword, like I said, it's because I memorized where all the Colossus are in these games in general, in this game in general. But if you look over there on that platform, you can see him laying down there. So this one's tricky because this jump is, it seems a lot closer than I used to think it was, but one of the trickiest things to do on the PlayStation 4 was making that correctly. I don't know if they wanted you to miss it or what, but it seemed like every time I would try to do it, I would end up in the water. And then have to climb that darn whole thing again. This guy's so cool. I love his arm. How it got fashioned as a part of a building or whatever it is, I have no idea, but very neat. This guy I like to just shoot a couple times in the stomach because I think it's cool. So most of the Colossus in this game do not attack you. But this guy, he's all up for the kill. Hey guy. So it doesn't look like I'm doing too much right now, but this guy, if you try to walk up his pole there that he has in the ground, you'll notice that when you get a certain amount, that you can't climb any further because he has this little wrist thing that's blocking the way. So in order to get him to break that off, you actually need him to hit this piece of stone on the ground here, this platform, perfectly. And to get him to get the perfect distance is actually real rough. And he still missed. Wow. Well, that stinks. Alright, let me see. What can I do? Maybe just call him? Does that work? Wow, look how close that is. Look how close that is. That's ridiculous. Gosh, so I remember that I needed the hint system for some of these when I was young. But I wonder how long it took me to realize that you needed him to hit the platform originally, because I do not remember, but it seems like it would take a while for any child to do. He's really not going to back up at all, though, huh? Alright, well, guess I'll just go behind him again to turn around. It's going to take so much longer for him to turn around again. Come on, you know you want to hit me. Okay, so hopefully that's far enough distance, because I really need him to hit this platform. Here we go. This is looking good. This is looking good. Are you kidding? Look how close that was. Look how close that was. Okay, come on, right here. Right here. Come on. You got this. Maybe if I stand here, it'll back up a little bit. Come on. You have to do it now. Got him. Oh my goodness, it's the most challenging thing. I feel like sometimes I could get him to do it so fast, and then sometimes he takes forever. Right, but if you notice, see how his arm plate is completely off of his lower arm? Now we should actually be able to climb. Alright. Come on, Wander, you could do it. Get up this Colossus. Get him. So I was a little bit disappointed because I tried to play the hard mode of this game, and they tried to make it hard by, for some of the Colossus, adding a whole other weak point to them. And to me, all the weak points that they ended up adding aren't even necessarily making it harder to beat them. It's just another area that you need to go. And then they lower the damage that you're doing, of course, as well. But still, it's disappointing. I was hoping that they would make the Colossi a little bit more challenging in general. So maybe having better fighting on attack moves or something like that. But no, I just get another shiny point to stab over and over again. Need to refill my stamina for a second, but it shouldn't be bad. This guy, I believe, has 2 weak points that we'll need to get to eventually. One is on his head. I think the other one is on his stomach. Could be his back, but pretty sure it's his stomach. Oh, okay, and that one's done. Alright, so what's the fastest way of getting down to his stomach? Oh, that was pretty fast. Alright. Hopefully we can do this part in one run. Come on, stamina, hold out just a little bit. A little shaky shake. Okay. Well, good thing about this one is I guess I can recuperate a little bit. Should just be one more stab anyway. Nice. 3 down. Another cool feature is if you go back to all the Colossus people that you've already beaten and you pray over them, you can replay them, which is a little bit different than the time attack mode. And so we're returning back to the temple.